Imagine this. You're sitting across from someone, and the conversation suddenly dies. The silence swells, thick and suffocating. Your mind races. What do I say? Why can't I think of anything? But the harder you grasp for words, the further they slip away. Here's the paradox. The more you fear silence, the more it controls you. The more you chase the right thing to say, the emptier your words become. What if the problem isn't a lack of things to say, but the crushing weight of expectation? The fear of being seen as dull, awkward, or unworthy. Carl Jung once warned that we wear masks to survive, but beneath them, our true voice waits, unfiltered, unforced. What if the key to endless conversation isn't rehearsed charm, but something far deeper? The real question isn't how to speak, but why you've ever struggled to begin with. The terror of silence doesn't come from emptiness. It comes from the stories we tell ourselves. If I don't speak, they'll think I'm boring. If I say the wrong thing, they'll reject me. Beneath every awkward pause lurks a deeper fear, the dread of being truly seen. Jung called this the persona, the polished mask we wear to navigate society. But when we over-identify with it, our natural flow of thought collapses under performance anxiety. Nietzsche saw this too, observing how modern humans prefer to pretend rather than perish, choosing hollow chatter over the vulnerability of authenticity. Even Sartre warned that hell is other people, not because they judge us, but because we imagine they do. The mind, desperate for control, turns silence into a void where every insecurity echoes. But what if the solution isn't to fill the silence, but to dissolve its power over you? Silence is not empty, it is a mirror. And in that reflection, we see everything we've been running from: our unresolved thoughts, our untamed emotions, the parts of ourselves we've buried to fit in. The more we avoid it, the more it haunts us. Neurologically, the brain interprets social silence as a threat, triggering the same primal panic as exclusion from the tribe. Culture worsens this instinct, conditioning us to equate quiet with failure, to mistake constant noise for connection. We scroll, we chatter, we deflect, all to escape the unbearable weight of our own presence. But Huxley foresaw the cost. The more we distract ourselves, the less we know ourselves. Every avoided silence is a missed chance to hear your own voice beneath the static. Every forced joke is a step further from the raw, real conversation that could have been the tragedy. The words you've been searching for were never lost, just drowned out by fear. The escape begins with a counterintuitive truth. Silence is not your enemy, it is your ally. Jungian psychology reveals that what we resist persists. By leaning into the pause instead of fleeing it, you disarm its power. Notice the tension without feeding it. Breathe. Let the silence be, and something extraordinary happens. Your mind, no longer frantic, begins to speak from depth rather than desperation. Nietzsche's solution: become who you are, stop performing. Instead of grasping for pre-approved phrases, voice the raw observation, the quiet curiosity, the honest, I don't know. Authenticity terrifies the ego, but liberates the soul. Practice this. Next time silence falls, listen, not to reply, but to understand. The words will come, not as weapons against discomfort, but as bridges to something real. The rebellion isn't about filling voids. It's about remembering you are never empty to begin with. The secret was never outside you. It was buried under layers of should, waiting for you to stop long enough to hear it. Here is the revelation that changes everything. You're never searching for words. You are searching for permission. Permission to be unpolished, to be uncertain, to exist without justification. The greatest conversationalists don't fear silence. They dance with it because they know the truth. Real connection thrives in the spaces between words. Jung's final insight was this: what you call awkwardness is actually the birth pangs of authenticity. The moments that feel like voids are where the unfiltered self begins to speak. When you stop treating conversations as performances, you discover an inexhaustible well of things to say, not because you've mastered technique, but because you've met yourself. So let the silence live. Let it breathe. The right words were never the ones you manufactured. They were the ones that emerged when you finally stopped running. Now, ask yourself, what might you hear in the quiet if you stopped being afraid of it?